That and the painkillers. I don't know if it was my nervous energy, but she was tipped off and went on one of her maniacal searches of the house. She ransacked my bedroom, not exactly knowing what she was looking for, but likely thinking she'd know it when she saw it. I followed her in my wheelchair, crying, "What are you doing? What are you looking for? What did I do?" After she dumped out all of my drawers, she continued to the living room. I slickly maneuvered my wheelchair to block the couch cushion. I was a human compass arrow that led the pirate right to its booty. "Move out of the way," my mother said, her eyes darting. I knew I couldn't deny the evidence. "Can't you just let me leave? Let me go," I pleaded, looking past her to the kitchen table where her favorite talisman, an old-fashioned Chinese dagger, lay. "Not this again, Gypsy. I thought we moved past this." She sounded like I was begging her to let me go to the mall or even to date Dan, who wanted nothing to do with me after she told everyone that he was a pervert and a child molester. "I won't bother you, and you'll never see me again," I said, saying the reverse of what she wanted to hear. Rushing to the kitchen table, I swiped the dagger and grabbed a .22 caliber BB gun she'd picked up at Walmart. I thought if I aimed the gun at her, she'd back off. Out of fear, I pulled the trigger and offloaded 10 BBs at her, creating tiny slits in her flesh. "You shot me!" She backed her way into the bathroom. Double-fisted with weaponry, I followed her until I was wedged in the doorway.
Oh, did you forget?
"Give me my bag. I want to go." I came at her with the gun, now empty, and just held the dagger up while she sat on the toilet. We were at a standoff. Why can't I be like other kids? The surge of heat released from the top of my head. I could feel my arms quivering and my voice trembling. I didn't know frustration could feel this way, like you want to twist your own head off and throw it at someone. Why'd you shave my head? Why can't I be like Aaliyah? Why is my life this way? All the questions. I was mad about Dan, and about the dog leash, and about the cow's tongue. The loneliness, the shame, the period pull-up diapers, the pills that made me drowsy, the surgeries. I wanted a dad. I wanted a friend. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to listen to the Backstreet Boys. "I love you," she said, pressing her fingers against her bleeding flesh wounds. "You are my heart, and I can't live without my heart." And then I asked the question that had been the source of so much frustration. "Why can't you let me go?" "Because I need you." I put the dagger down, but held on to the empty gun. "Please stay," she begged. I released all that pent-up anger. I felt relief. Then she didn't hit me or tie me up again. I think she was afraid of me. I think she hadn't realized baby could be violent. Honey and baby were equals now. I was scared shitless of her, and she was scared shitless of me. Another dogfight, this time nose to nose. The whole time I never got up from the wheelchair. But from here on, Mama and I were speaking different languages. 10.
There you have it, folks. Listen to none other than Gypsy Rose Blanchard herself sit there and tell you a whole bunch more lies as I continue on with this book. It does not take a genius to know that this shit did not go down the way that she's saying that it went down. If she wanted to leave, she had every right to just leave. If she was ballsy enough to confront her mom and sass her for 5 whole years before she actually unalived her, and attempted to unalive her twice before in 2011, you're going to sit there and tell me that she's actually standing in her way, that there was no other option. Bullshit. She had every motherfucking option. She knew that. She was exercising that. The fact that she got found. I'm not even. First of all, this chapter right here, chapter 10, about meeting Nick in October of 2012, okay? And this one, 11, the movie theater. Complete bullshit. It is nothing but Gypsy Rose hypersexuality. It sounds to me like her mom was trying to protect her from herself. She had already admitted to having sexual relations with somebody on parole that was twice her age that she did not even really know. Spending the night with that man. Her mother finding all of her contraband and lingerie and all of this stuff. You know that she tried to get pregnant by Dan in 2011. She tried to unalive her mom twice so she can run off with him, thinking he would be off parole and that they'd be free to leave and go to a whole different state. Or that she'd get pregnant by him and her mom would have to accept him. Gypsy, you don't even know this guy and you're getting pregnant. It's just like you don't even know Ken. No matter how much you can talk to somebody through letter or on the phone or through email, in prison, you do not know that person. Look, you did that with Ryan, marrying him in 2022. You get out on December 28th of 2023. You're not even with them 40 days, and boom, you're already talking to Ken. The hypersexuality is weird for me. This is not a coming of age story. This is not I was suppressed and I'm finding myself story. This is a story of somebody who has some really weird, overstimulated idea of what sexual relationships really are. This fairy tale, distorted reality version of what having a baby and a family and marriage and all of that is. That's why I say that is giving not adult. Not fully functioning brain-wise adult. Because her mother wouldn't have had to go to these lengths to try and stop her from doing these really dangerous things. Oh my goodness. I cannot, even with this girl, I cannot. The shit that she says about Nick too is egregious, and Gypsy, you know it's a fucking lie. You know it's a lie. You manipulate. We have the text messages. I have all of them. Do not sit here and act like you did not manipulate him. You completely gave him your love and pulled it away. Gave him your love and pulled it away. Gave him love. And he was so confused by that. And you can clearly see that if you've ever taken 30 minutes and read through those text messages and you're self-projecting what you did to him and trying to be the victim. Stop being the fucking victim. Stop being the fucking victim. Stop being the fucking victim. And become the victor of your own story and your own life and just tell the truth. You cannot be set free until you fully come to a place where you are telling the truth and acknowledging it all for what it really is. But oh my goodness, the over sexuality. I'm just going to say this. I have a cousin that is about 6 years older than me. And growing up, my aunt, my uncle, and their 3 kids lived in a house right behind us. We literally grew up with our grandparents right there. My other aunt was down the street, not even 2 blocks. But my aunt had 2 boys and a girl. The girl, who is older than me by several years, she is mentally disabled, meaning she has a CI. She's cognitively impaired, meaning that she's below average IQ. She grew up like that, obsessed with baby dolls, obsessed with teddy bears, obsessed with Disney, obsessed with, and I thought it was really weird at 14, 15, being obsessed with McDonald's kitty toys, being obsessed with fantasy movies, being obsessed with this really weird perception of sex. Like, she was that type growing up, that she always had to have a guardian and caregiver. To this day, she still has a guardian and a caregiver. And the first thing she did, the first chance she got to lock a man down and get pregnant and have a kid, she did that. Now, of course, it's within your civil, constitutional, and basic human rights to have a child, even when you're mentally disabled, and have a cognitive impairment. But is it moral? Is it just? Is it fair to that child? I mean, just seeing how hypersexualized my own cousin was growing up, that was really weird for me because my parents had to protect me being so much younger from her. But it was also weird to see somebody who's a teenager like my sisters, but yet I'm very little and I'm relating to her like a 3-year-old, like a 4-year-old, like a 5-year-old. That was just something that I noticed about her, my own cousin, is that she always had that overstimulated, hypersexualized way of being, but she also had this really weird obsession with boys, with men, with babies, with the whole thing, like her entire life. And that's what I'm saying. This just reminds me of that, this hypersexualized way of being. And it seems to me like her mom was trying to get her to not control her, but to protect her from herself, to protect her from her own bad, negative, life-altering decision-making that she had going on, like going and getting pregnant by some stranger parolee, or going and getting pregnant by somebody who she never even met in real life. Oh my God, Gypsy, I can't even with you.
I was vulnerable to Nick, the only adult in my life who knew that I could walk. The acting felt natural.